have a degree because I thought it was really important to be able to say I had one.
No,
It's earned me precisely nothing. Like I
nothing.
can't point to a single red cent that I've earned because I have my college degree. I can point to an exorbitant college debt, student debt,
Mhm.
that am nowhere close to paying off and probably never will.
So
And
this is the
so,
exact same thing that we're going through. We are being told by not only a high school guidance counselor or our parents or a guardian that going to college is the only way you're going to make it. Get good grades, go to college, you'll be able to make it. And we did all of those things. We can't make it because precisely of that college debt. And I think so much of this needs to be put back onto those same leeching. And really, it's a criminal enterprise. It's a Ponzi scheme to try to convince an 18 to 21-year-old to take out $250,000 in loans that are backed up by the federal government. So there's no risk to them, all for a gender studies degree, and somehow continue that model. It should be completely criminal at this rate.
yeah, I mean, and you and I haven't really talked about policy solutions, but just listening to you say that, it kind of pops into my head. If the actual institutions themselves, like say the University of Minnesota, actually took on the
Yeah.
financial risk of loaning the money to the students, you'd probably see their programs drop things like gender studies pretty quick, right?
Or
Because it's like,
marijuana studies, which is a new one. Well, actually, it's a good point that you bring this up. In the higher education omnibus bill in 2023 as well as 2025, I had an amendment prepared that would create the enrollment endowment fund. You have these institutions, these colleges and universities with nonprofit status, who have $5 billion hedge funds, just like the U of M does. And largely it just goes towards paying off their 22,000 administrators, rather than being used to supplant college tuition support for students. So why not tax those endowments and force that money to go towards cutting the cost for tuition? I know the University of Minnesota hated it. I got several frantic phone calls from Melissa Lopez Franson, who's their chief lobbyist and former Democrat minority leader in the Senate. But it was our side that killed it. I think if Republicans want to start winning the next generation, they're going to have to recognize that these colleges should not be protected. They're not our friends.
no, I mean, there's a handful, right? So, like the private religious schools, some of them, I think we could genuinely count as friends, but the industry as a whole, the higher education industry as a whole, obviously is very much not. And it's because they got a good thing going. They got a great grift going that makes
Martin, they
them
love
all
nothing
kinds of.
more. They love nothing more than when a politician promises to erase student loan debt, which
Right.
essentially is a dog whistle of saying, we're going to cut you a blank check.
Well,
And
yeah.
it's an immediate payoff of that loan that they took out. And the institutions also don't provide anything other than an experience nowadays, right? I mean, you got kids who are talking about pronouns and revolutionary Marxist ideas because their professors are demanding that they write papers on it. They're not being taught how to go into a workforce with the resources or knowledge necessary to do a job. I think
Well,
the entire model needs to change.
and of course, that's now leaked down into K through 12 with the ethnic studies curriculum. That it was hilarious this past year or maybe it was 2025, in the Education Finance Committee when they put on a big pageant in defense of ethnic studies, and they wheeled
Yes.
out all these students. And the students testified as to why ethnic studies was the best thing since sliced bread. And ironically, they just ended up demonstrating why it's a corrupt, non-academic, entirely politicized indoctrination campaign, because they kept saying things like, I've learned to, not center my whiteness, or I've learned to appreciate my identity as a, you know,
My
Colombian immigrant.
privilege. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And they're talking about it's like none of this is academic.
Well,
This
the
is
best
all
part about it is they
ideologically
were reading
political.
off of scripts, but they couldn't read off of the scripts because they have a 47% literacy proficiency rate while
Right.
being mandated to be taught ethnic studies. It's ridiculous.
But back to
Uh,
colleges.
No, back to colleges. I think the way that you stop this system altogether and get it back towards education and preparation for the workforce is by cutting every single cent, hard cent that comes from a taxpayer dollar. They should receive zero subsidies, zero bonding dollars, and be forced to provide a product and a service that people actually want to use. I mean, there's a 30% decrease in student enrollment during a time in which we've seen the largest increase in student tuition. That's that's completely backwards. If it was something that people wanted to use, it would go up in cost rather than, these kids who are now waking up to the fact that college is nothing other than a degree that isn't worth the piece of paper it's written on. I never even picked mine up. It's still sitting in an office somewhere at Hamlin University because I didn't want to go in and do their COVID nonsensical graduation ceremony. So they largely are nothing other than a Ponzi scheme, and Republicans need to wise up to that.
Well, I mean, I think conservatives largely have, in terms of the machinery of Republican political entities, they got some catch up to do, no doubt. I don't know why, to any extent, we play footsie with these folks. They're not our friends. They're not even an actual public good when you look at the
No,
output and what it is that they're doing and what it is that they're teaching. That they're not serving a public interest by indoctrinating kids and not preparing them from the real world and not preparing them to produce value and instead preparing them to go out there and complain and groan and carry
go unhinged
grievances.
when they're misgendered, just like we saw
Right.
on
Yeah.
video. Yeah. Maybe
Right.
that's the goal, though, Walter. Maybe we need to recognize as conservatives that the goal of leftist academics in these higher education institutions is to make a less free and prosperous generation who are also delirious and delusional, because that's how you make a leftist voter.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the entire business model, and they're doing a damn good job of it. And we just see what their ultimate goal is as something completely different.
Yeah. I mean, I am both excited about and apprehensive about my youngest son in particular leaving the nest because his plan right now is to go into the trades. And
Yep.
his grandfather is retired from the trades and knows all about how to do it the right way
Yep.
and has advised my son, don't, first of all, get to work right away as soon as you're done with high school. Don't wait, don't take a year off, go to work right away, get trained. It's like by the time you're 22, you're going to be a journeyman and you're going to be making $100 an hour. It's going to be
Yep.
ridiculous.
It's my brother
And
right now. He went
yep,
into the electric field. He's an electrician and did a 2-year degree through Lake Superior, but is making hand over fist in money right now, while
yep,
everybody else who got a underwater basket weaving degree from some liberal arts
right.
school is feeling as if they're being left behind in the workforce and saddled with all this debt, which just so happens to be all because of the same government that promised them to ease student debt in the first place.
Well, and the nice thing about the trades, from what I understand, is half that money that he gets every hour is going to benefits and also to the pension, right? That he's
Correct.
eventually going to end up getting, and so like in my father-in-law's case, he's getting more now than he was getting paid when he stopped
Right.
because of
Right.
how much he had invested and how long he had worked and how consistently he had worked. And on top of that, I've told my kids that they can stick around here as long as they want, as long as they're being productive and have a job and aren't just laying about, and take that money that you would spend on rent somewhere and sock it away into your own private investments,
Well, but going back to our last conversation, Walter, it's the college tuition cost
Yeah,
crisis that is leading half of 30 and under Americans to still be living with their parents. Like, you
right.
can expect that into the early 20s. Maybe that's healthy and it's smart to stock away that money and use it for a down payment, or maybe even a wedding ring and starting up a family with your eventual spouse. But that's not happening anymore because we're paying out of pocket $1,000 monthly just towards college expenses alone for 30
Well,
years.
that's because I think a lot of people don't look at it as a business decision. They
It's
look
not.
at it they look at it as a status of, I want to go to college because I'm supposed to go to college, or I want to have the college experience, which, trust me, you can have the college experience without going to college. I did it, right? It's not that big of a deal. You don't have to go into a bunch of debt and take classes in order to get the college experience. But the it's a business decision. So what's the actual point of going to school? The actual point is to enable yourself to be able to make money, right? So it's about
Yes,
income.
there's a
It's
return
about
on
life
investment.
savings.
You get this education in exchange
Yeah,
for years of larger salaries. which don't exist
So
anymore.
so what's going to do my son better? Starting to earn a lot of money and socking it away and having it grow in interest, you know? Is that going to be better off for him over the course of his lifetime? Or is going into 40, 60, $100,000 worth of debt so that he gets a degree that and then starts fresh 4 years later, right?
Right.
Is that going to be better for him? And now he's got to make payments after 6 months?
Maybe that's the fix then, Walter. We need to mandate that these institutions, if they even receive a single cent in taxpayer funding for their facility maintenance or whatever it might be, like the University of Minnesota, the degree field can only exist if you can prove to me that after graduating with that degree, you make money that
Right,
would allow you to pay off the debt that
right,
you've accrued. If the
right.
degree is not making you the money, the field is eliminated. I mean, they literally just created a marijuana degree. What are you going to do
Well,
besides smoke pot or sell pot with a marijuana degree? And trust me, you don't need to go to college to do that.
no, you
It's
don't.
it's
Absolutely not.
just the
Um,
experience, like you said. It's a
right,
little
right.
place for people to feel important and come up with
Yes.
Marxist ideals.
Well, I mean, we talk a lot about fraud here in Minnesota. This is a fraud.
Yes,
Selling
yes,
buddy selling somebody a product that doesn't have the value that you advertised it to have, that's fraud,
right.
right? Telling a kid if you come here and spend tens of thousands of dollars and get your degree in marijuana studies, you're going to be able to make a ton of money and have a fulfilling career. That's
The
nonsense
lie,
objectively. Right.
snake oil
And it's a
salesman.
lie.
It's a pyramid scheme. And the shittiest part about it all, Walter, is they're doing it from a Summit Avenue taxpayer funded mansion with a
Yeah.
$2 million salary.
Yeah.
They will increase student tuition this year by 7.2%, the largest in state history, from their mansion on the hill. And then they will say it's the capitalist structure that's making you not be
Right.
able to afford life.
Right.
No,
Right.
it's precisely themselves and the left wing BS that they've been